line south down to the base. East is to the open space, and west is U-Bank. So that is our rectangle that we're covered here in the Foothills Area Command. And we're going to talk tonight about crime prevention. We'll focus a little bit on things that affect us as women, and specifically purses. It's not going to be about self-defense or tactics on how to fight somebody off, but we're going to hit the highlights. I'm going to get you in and out of here in an hour. Your resource packets are for you to take home and study later when we have time. And a few housekeeping tips right now. Across the lobby we have water fountains and the restrooms. Also there's bottled water and granola bars. If anyone wants a snack or a water, it's right outside on the table here. And we'll get underway. So first in your packets, 2 pages that I left outside of the packet purposely. These are the most important pages. Come on in.
Okay.
The notes page, and that's for you to take notes, and the feedback page. Because if you see something that I can be doing better, or if there's another topic that you're interested in for next year, just go ahead and jot that down on the feedback page. I don't need names or anything, just complete the feedback page is all I ask, and leave that in the pin at your place when you leave tonight. I understand you're all busy people. If anybody needs to leave early tonight, that's totally fine, won't hurt my feelings. We're all very busy. I'm just grateful that you came out with the rainstorm that we had today. It was unbelievable. We had thunder that actually, it shook the wall of my office today. Yeah. So in your packets, there is a flyer on Workshop Wednesdays at the Foothills. That's a program that I started here. Once a month, on a Wednesday night, 5:30 to 6:30, we'll have a crime prevention workshop. The next one is November 18th, holiday crime prevention. Holidays bring out different kinds of crimes, or certain types of crimes increase during the holidays. So I'm going to bring that to you in November. We'll take a break in December, and we'll start up again in January, okay? Another page in your packet, our Foothills Area Command website. That's where all the crime prevention is pushed out to the community for the Foothills Area Command. Also, that's where I'll be posting notices when I'm ready to take sign-ups for the next Workshop Wednesday. So there are other things too, community events calendars, different things you can participate in. And I put out a daily blog on the website for the property crime that occurred the day before and crime prevention tips of the day. So normally those crime prevention tips are based on the actual cases. I'll see something where somebody maybe could have done something a little bit better to prevent being a victim, and I'll put that crime out there for the community, or the crime prevention tip, not the crime. Crimemapping.com, there's a flyer on that. And that is a public access website where you can track crime. You can sign up as a subscriber, and you can request certain types of crimes at any type of address, and it will send you an update or a crime alert email when the crime you selected happens at the address. You can do a radius. You could put in, for example, your address and do a 500-foot radius out to 2 miles. I recommend not overwhelming yourself with a 2-mile radius. That's a lot. Try it out close to the address that you pop in and see how you like it. I have some tips for jogging, walking, cycling out in the open space. The Foothills Area Command has some beautiful open space areas. I know today with the weather it was so terrible we're not going to be out there, but take this home, save it for when the weather gets better, and read through those tips. I've tried to make them easy for you. I have a resource page in the packet. This is resources with your crime prevention specialist. with your substation, with your police department in the city of Albuquerque. The Violence Against Women Act, I thought was interesting. I heard about it in another workshop. And actually, it was one of our attorneys for the Albuquerque Housing Authority that said, hey, you should hand this out at your workshops. Women would be interested in that. So I thought, yeah, why not? Maybe you'd want to read it. We've got brochures on how to describe a person if you have to call 242 cops or 911, the difference between 242 cops and 911, and how to file a police report. Personal safety, domestic violence, residential burglary prevention. A small card is in the packet on property inventory. If you don't already have one, make one up. Get a property inventory, keep it current, list the make, model, serial number of the item. If it's jewelry, I recommend laying a ruler down and photographing a piece of jewelry next to the ruler for scale. If you are burglarized, having a property inventory that's up to date and current will be really helpful for the police officer if they have to file a report, or if they recover stolen property, it's easier for them to match it up to the victim. Auto theft prevention, and then these small cards, and there are more on the table out in the lobby. These are vehicle information cards, and you list your vehicle information on there. Keep it in your wallet or on your person. If your vehicle gets stolen, you've got all that information that the police officer needs to get that vehicle entered into NCIC. So with that, we'll get rolling. There's time for questions, but I've also built in a couple of minutes at the end for questions. So if something comes to mind, feel free to just raise your hand. My goals for tonight, give you a general overview of crime prevention, get you started on thinking about your safety, and give you simple tips that you can use right away. So I want to talk first about perception versus reality. A lot of us perceive that there's a whole lot more crime than there really is, or we have the perception that we're a walking target, or we have a target on our back. What's the reality? 1 in 3 people fears being a victim of violent crime. So 1 in 3, we're going to be a victim of violent crime. 1 in 150 people actually will be a victim of violent crime. And that was from a USA Today national poll. The best targets for a criminal, here's the bad news: elderly, female, disabled. So this is where the information that you learned tonight, you can start using this right away to protect yourself. Hey Janet, thanks for coming. No problem. So the good news is you control your environment. There are things you can do to protect your property, very simple things, but you do control your environment to a certain extent. No one is ever going to be 100% safe or guaranteed that there will never be a crime, but there are certain things you can do to reduce the odds of being a victim. You can protect yourself. So crime prevention, a lot of it is about sending a visual message. It's a visual message to the outsider, to the criminal element, that this may not be a good idea to proceed with the crime that I'm thinking of committing. Is the risk really high for me as a criminal? Can I get hurt? If I'm seen, is anybody going to do anything about it? This is where our neighborhood watch groups really come in as an asset to law enforcement, because neighborhood watch members serve as extra eyes on the block. They're trained in how to safely report criminal or suspicious activity. And when that criminal is thinking, well, if I commit a crime here, is anyone even going to do anything? Yeah. We should all be willing to pick up the phone and call 242 cops, the non-emergency number, or 911. But from a place where you are safe. We ask that you never chase, confront, yell at somebody, I'm filming you on my cell phone, and then I'm going to call the cops. Just go to a safe place. And this is where this brochure will really come in handy with training your mind on how to describe somebody or a vehicle. Because when you do get on that phone with 242 cops, that dispatcher is going to ask you in a procedural fashion, how to describe that person, what's going on, where are you. That's important too. Be aware of where you are, so if you need help, you can describe whether it's cross streets, an address, landmarks around you. Those are important. With crime prevention, we talk about hardening targets. What's the target? You, your property. Hardening a target is layering the target with protective measures. And that's where your crime prevention comes in and controlling your own environment. It can be as simple as locking up. If you see suspicious people on your block, it could be as simple as a friendly wave or nod of the head, taking out the garden hose and watering, just anything to let them know, I'm aware, I see you. If I had to call 911, I could describe you pretty well. So hardening targets, there's a variety of things. Vehicles, not leaving a purse in the car. If you've been following my daily blog, we've had some purses that are being stolen out of vehicles. And I'll get into that a little bit a little bit further. The triangle of crime, if you've heard me before at the workshops, I like to talk about the triangle of crime, and that's what you need to have a crime occur. You need motivation, so that's the motivation of the criminal. You need opportunity to arise to commit the crime. Come on in. There's 2 in the back and 2 in the hot seat. Just kidding. So you need the motivation, the opportunity, and the target. Now, if your target is layered with protective measures, you're going to reduce the opportunity, and you're probably going to reduce the motivation of that criminal. So when you're out and about, remember, triangle of crime, hardening the target with protective layers. Okay? Your goal as citizens, you want to deter, delay, and deny. You want to deter the offender from committing the crime. You want to delay. So that's different barriers. For example, at a house, it could be your lighting, your fencing, your locks, landscaping. Or deny, which is prevent entry, prevent the crime. So deter, deny, delay. Those are your goals as citizens and controlling your environment. One thing that I like to bring up is awareness, situational awareness. We need to be more aware of our surroundings. We are such a distracted society right now. We've got, right, all the little mobile devices. We have maybe kids with us that we're trying to corral and control. There's all kinds of things going on that distract us. When you are out and about, situational awareness is key. I want you to be aware. For example, when you're pulling into a parking lot, scan the area. I want you to scan before you just hop out of the car and run into the store. Look around. Is there anybody in the parking lot that doesn't seem to have legitimate business there? And that can happen a lot. Hi, Susan. There's 1 back there and 2 here. Oh, 2 back there, actually. But situational awareness is going to be really important. Remember back when I said the top targets for criminals, the elderly, disabled, and female? We need to be extra savvy about this. Be aware. Scan. Go places with a buddy if you can. If you don't feel safe, leave and return again when you feel safer, or with a friend. But if you're in a commercial establishment, call the manager and let them know, you know, I came to your business today, but I kept going because I didn't feel safe to get out of my car. And here's why. Here's what happened. They need to be responsible for their property. They need to make sure that their customers feel comfortable patronizing their business. One of the things that I posted about on the Foothills Area Command website in the daily blog was we've had some ATM armed robberies to individuals. Again, scan that area. Anything where you have to get out and you're vulnerable, I want you to be aware. And if it doesn't feel right, leave. Okay? Granted, the most recent one was to a gentleman at an ATM. It was pre-dawn, about 5:30 in the morning, I believe. But again, you know, if you can go into a place that's more traveled, has a lot of people, those are potential witnesses and potential help for you if you run into a problem. Go inside, say, the grocery store branches. Use the ATM in there. You may not be able to go at 4 in the morning or 5:30 when this gentleman wanted to go to the ATM, but you'll be a little bit safer if you plan ahead, okay? Knowing where you are, try to remember where you are as far as the address. If you ever have to call 911, you'll have that address handy, or at least make note of the cross streets where you are, direction of travel, if you're on a freeway, the mile marker, and be able to describe a person and a vehicle. Start to practice what-if thinking. And I call this what-if thinking, but whenever I go somewhere, immediately I try to figure out if something went south here real fast, what are 2 exits for me? How would I get out of here? So for example, in this room, exit there, exit there, exit there. Actually, we have 3. So I like to do that. So I ask you, just practice. When you go somewhere new, when you walk in, think, okay, if something happened here, how am I getting out? What's my plan? It's nice to have a what-if plan and never have to use it, but it's also good to be in that practice and have that training in your mindset. If you ever do need that, you're prepared. Another thing to think about is something happened where you go in somewhere, say for example, maybe a bank, and you think, well, what if this place was robbed and I'm inside? Would I flee? Would I fight? Would I hide? Just start thinking. I'm not trying to scare you, but I want you to start being more aware of what could happen and prepare yourself mentally for that. Where would I get help? How would I get help? Think through your options. Personal safety tips. I'm sure if you guys are around me a lot, you know my number 1 personal safety tip for women: ditch that purse. Leave the purse at home. If you've been following the Foothills website daily blog, we had a purse stolen off the front seat of a vehicle while a lady was unloading groceries, or loading groceries into her vehicle. We had another one within the last week or so. Again, purse stolen from the front seat of the vehicle, door was open, car unlocked, attic windows rolled down, but she was unloading the groceries into the home from the vehicle. So those 2 incidents, purse left right on the front seat of the car. Try to eliminate carrying the big purse around. I know it's hard. I've done it. I've done it myself. I'm really attached to my handbags. It's in my DNA, okay? But what I've learned is I carry a little wristlet that has slots for my credit cards, my driver's license, and my cell phone. Also, I have other kinds that hook onto a belt loop, and if I have a back pocket, I just slide it in there and it's hooked on, and I have my blouse over it. Nobody's the wiser. Fanny packs, you can do that as well. I know.
Sorry.
I know there are a lot of jokes about fanny packs, but you know, they work for getting you from A to B with a minimal amount of stuff on you. And the thing about the purses, I'm so concerned for you women. Parking lots are notorious for this, and I'm going to touch on this a lot in the next workshop, the holiday crime prevention. Because many of us think we're safer with the across the shoulder. It may be more difficult for somebody to take it off of you, and that's why I'm so worried about you.
Because they're going to take you down?
They will take you down. There are teams that cruise the parking lots, and this increases during holiday time. And if there's a struggle with that across the body bag, it's going to hurt you. You're going to get drugged down onto the asphalt. You could break a limb, you could knock a tooth out, you could be badly bruised. These are busy places with vehicles moving in and out. You have an offender that's trying to get out of there fast without being seen, reported, or hurt. Remember? We talked about that earlier. So please, if you must, for your errands, just bring what you need for the particular errand. For myself, I usually bring driver's license, credit card, $20 bill, and that's about it, and a cell phone. Well, the lipstick stays in the car. I have lipsticks scattered all over Albuquerque. For me personally, my vehicle does not start unless the owner has lipstick on. That's just me. I'm that kind of a girly girl. But yeah, I mean, you know, these wristlets too, they have room for a lip gloss or a lipstick. But think about your safety. Yes, Ginger.
You had recommended taking your driver's registration and license out of the car, but if you don't carry like a purse and stuff, would you leave it in the car? Because you have to have it if you're driving.
You know, here's a couple of things about that. Ginger had asked about taking vehicle registration and insurance paperwork out of the car when you park. I do recommend that. The reason why is we have a lot of auto burglaries where sometimes those are the only things stolen, or a garage door opener along with that. But if you think about it, well, who wants that stuff? Think about what's on it. A garage door opener is the key to your home, basically. The vehicle registration and insurance has your name, your address. Now, if they break a window, punch a door lock, or you discover your vehicle's been broken into, you need to file a police report. You get on the phone, 242 cops, need to report my vehicle's been broken into. Okay, it's a lower priority crime right now for our dispatchers. Why? Nobody's bleeding, no injuries, it's not in progress, there's no suspect, and there's no witness in general. So you're going to be waiting there for the officer to come up. So now someone has your name, your address, and most likely your garage door opener, and they could have the opportunity to burglarize your home while you're still inconvenienced with your vehicle. Those documents don't have to be in the vehicle when it is parked. They do have to be in the vehicle when it's operational, okay? So what I recommend is I keep mine in a small plastic envelope when I get out of my personal vehicle. Again, that goes in my pocket or in my wristlet. It stays on my person. I don't want to leave it behind in the vehicle. Those things can also be used to piece together a personal profile of a person and used to commit fraud or identity theft. So that's why you want to be careful. If you feel more comfortable having it in the car, some people lock it in the trunk or hide it in the trunk. If you're comfortable with that and you feel like I'm controlling my environment and this is how I'm doing it, then by all means. Whatever works for you and your situation, but I want you to start thinking about the items that are left behind in parked vehicles. And Janet, I know you you follow my blog, and I put down all the property quite frequently that was stolen in a week from a vehicle, and it's astounding. It is such a hodgepodge grab bag of assorted items, and some of the things, birth certificates, social security cards, driver's licenses, wallets, purses, credit cards, firearms, ammo, iPads, iPods, cell phones, watches. We had a watch stolen this week and a charger. All kinds of assorted cash, up to hundreds of dollars. So start really thinking about, wait a minute, what's in my vehicle? What am I leaving exposed to a potential burglary?
So we're not to carry our billfold with us then? Because I keep my registration and my insurance in my billfold, and I never leave my billfold in my car.
Sometimes, you know, it's your comfort level, but we've had burglaries before where those are the only things that were taken, and people did not even realize they were victims of an auto burglary. And then when they went to get those documents, they realized, oh my God, you know, they're stolen. And a lot of times with the auto burglaries, the criminal will go straight to the center console in the glove box. And then under the seat for the purse. Because a lot of women hide the purse under the seat, so it's in the car, ready to go.
And I can't get over carrying my purse. I cannot leave my purse or my billfold in my car. It's just not, my DNA says no to that. But
Make
the
a-
other thing
Make a
about-
deal with me and just go and try going to the store with just that little minimum amount and see how, I mean, it feels weird at first, it does, because I had to do that.
It's not that it feels weird, it's that I don't have what I think I need. Like, if you leave your registration and your insurance card, which I think for years I did in the glove compartment of my car. And when I stopped doing that was when a friend of mine said that, this was several years ago, when, for instance, if you're at the movie theater, that they will break into your car to find who's not at home. So they get your address and they can go then, to your house. So I leave nothing in my car, but even just my name and no address.
Another thing that I do too is for my personal vehicle, like I said about the little plastic envelope that I keep those documents in, I forgot to mention, I do keep my car keys right on top of that. So I'm not going to run out, grab the car keys, get in the car and think, uh-oh, my registration and insurance is back at the house. They're all together. So that kind of keeps me straight. Whatever works for you, do it. I recommend it.
Are we able to shrink it down, like if we have the registration, to shrink it down, just to make it smaller for in a wallet?
Some people have done that to carry a copy. Other people want to take a picture on their cell phone and carry that around. Here's the thing, if you get pulled over, it's officer discretion on what they're going to accept. Most, I would think, being reasonable, might say, you know what, I believe you, ma'am, and I can verify it in MVD as far as who the car is registered to. That's a personal decision. It might be handy because it's smaller, but just keep in mind, there could be an officer out there that they want to see the original documents. Okay?
They want to see the original, a copy of your car registration isn't good enough.
It'll depend on the officer if you get pulled over. It's
I
their
have a copy of mine
discretion.
and fold it up and put it in my billfold, and my insurance card is like a credit card.
Mine too. I mean, mine's just a little perforated thing, and the registration, it fits right in that envelope. Actually, my auto insurance company gave me the plastic envelope that I keep everything in. So another thing I want to recommend, carry a breakaway keychain. Oh, Commander, come on in. I want to introduce you. This is Commander Shane Rogers, Foothills Area Command.
Hello. Thank you all for coming. We enjoy having you come here. We love the support that you show by coming out and supporting her Wednesday workshops. We're the only area command that's doing them right now, so that's really important. With your guys' support coming out, hopefully we can get this going citywide and really expand this program. So
Word has spread too. I mean, we've had coverage, the Spanish language TV channel, channel 4, 7, and 13, and 770 KKOB radio. So, word has spread, and I really appreciate your support. I should introduce you to Diane Goodman. She's one of our Foothills residents.
hello.
She filmed the last workshop Wednesday
Okay.
and posted it on YouTube. So if
People
you're
saw it
curious
too,
about
so-
what's the camera doing there,
Yeah.
she has graciously offered to do that. When I get the link for this workshop, I will put it out on foothillsareacommand.com and next door in the Foothills section so you can access the YouTube link. And Diane had some very nice words for our leadership regarding the little 4-year-old
Oh.
girl and the road rage incident
I
this
just,
week.
I just want to say, thanks to Chief Eden. Sorry.
That's understandable.
Yes.
He's obviously making a big difference, not just with what happened recently, but as a result of all the things that had happened before that, how everybody is pulled together and it's giving people more.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I will pass that on to him. I do appreciate
And to all the
that.
team too that's working on it right now, so.
I will let them know. I definitely will. That was a very hard case for them. and it's taken its toll on them, but I'm glad there's a resolution, a quick resolution.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you know, you guys, you're all potential witnesses for things that happen. And again, this one will show you, it'll train your mind how to describe a person or a vehicle. If you're in a jam or another community member is in a jam and you call and make that call to 242 COPS or 911, I recommend reading this one first, just to train your mind how to describe somebody, because the community, you guys are our eyes and ears. Our officers are stretched thin. They can't be on every block, everywhere, every day. So that's where you come in as a great asset to law enforcement. And in this case, you know, we're getting tons of tips from the community.
I will tell you, it was the tips that solved this case. Very many people came forward to help out on this case.
So the person of interest that they arrested is the actual suspect?
I don't know. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't be at liberty to say that.
They said
Yeah.
they're not ready to.
So, but thank you. I'm sorry to just pop in, but I've got another meeting that I'm heading to right now. But thanks again. Thank you very, very much, and let your friends know. We have these every month. Jill does a wonderful job with these. So we hope it keeps growing. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you. He's got another community meeting to get to. We've had, I believe at last count, it was 25 or 27 this month. So we're kind of tired, but we love it. We want to engage with you. So if you have group meetings for your neighborhood association, neighborhood watch, community group, apartment complex, call me, let me know. I can get it on the Foothills website calendar. I can invite an officer to attend if I can't be there. But we want to engage with you. We want to work with you. Also, monthly, we have community policing council meetings. Those are also on the website. Those are for community. Oh, Janet, can you just say a few words about those?
Well, I've attended both Northeast and Foothills, and both of them provide a committee of about 6 people, 3 of which are, in addition to, are officers. And probably the most valuable part of the meetings are the time period where the officers give a report. Jill does a fantastic monthly report that she has for Foothills on everything that's happened in the Foothills area for that month, all kinds of crime. And then after they present the report, it's open for one-on-one discussion with the officers. All kinds of wonderful things are communicated. And I say wonderful because it means you learn a lot. I have been going to all the meetings, almost all the meetings since January. And every time I go, whether it's Northeast Command or Foothills Command, I learn something. And it's well worth the time and effort. I strongly encourage everyone to go. You'll be amazed.
And if you're in the Northeast Area Command, which is the other side of Eubank, then that's also on their website, northeastareacommand.com. But we have these once a month. They're 2 hours. The Foothills one is at the Holiday Park Community Center, and that's on Comanche. And the Northeast Area Command, I think, is at North Domingo Baca? Right, okay.
And it's the first Monday of the month for Foothills,
Mhm.
and the second Tuesday of the month for Northeast.
Yeah, so I encourage you to participate because these really are your meetings. Our officers and leadership are there to hear and engage with you and talk with you about issues. So anyway, back specifically for women, for crime prevention, it's hard to break that habit of the purse, I know. So one of the things that I want to talk about is making a photocopy of all of the contents of your wallet. If you have to carry a lot of stuff around, make a photocopy of the contents of your wallet, front and back, credit cards, etc. Keep that in a safe place. If your wallet gets stolen or the purse gets stolen, you have all that information on who to call for your different department store or financial institution credit cards, the other things that you will need to replace. It's really hard to pick up the pieces when that happens to you. And this one tip may help you. And think of it as kind of similar to the vehicle identification card with your information. Just having it handy in a safe place. If the wallet gets stolen, it'll help you out. If it doesn't feel safe, get out. And I'm talking about stairwells, elevators. Have you ever gone in an elevator and you just think, wow, I don't like the looks of this person in here. I don't feel good. The hair on the back of my neck is standing up. I'm very uneasy. I hope I make it to the floor that I need. There's no reason to go through that level of fear. If you don't feel right, there's probably a reason why. Just take a step out. We as women, we're so concerned about our manners, being polite, be assertive. If it doesn't feel right, nobody else is looking out for your personal safety but you. If it doesn't feel right, remove yourself from the situation. If somebody's asking you, panhandling, asking you for something, you have every right to say no. Don't bother me, you're in my personal space. Okay? If you're on private property, say for example, grocery store, parking lot, you have every right to march right back in that store, ask for the store manager and say, you know what, you've got an aggressive panhandler in your parking lot. I'm calling 242 cops, but I hope that you and your employees will do something about this because you want to feel safe and you have every right to go where you want to go. But if it doesn't feel safe, I'm asking you to remove yourself from the situation. Don't risk it. You don't want to be a victim of crime and think, gosh, you know, I knew it wasn't right. I knew something didn't feel right and I went ahead anyway. Don't have that regret. Your personal safety is worth far more than hurting somebody's feelings. Put the cell phone away. I don't have any teens or tweens in here, but I mean, gosh, you know, they are so focused on that cell phone, and we are too as adults. Everywhere you go, people are playing around with the cell phones, the smartphones. Put it away. Not only is it a distraction for you, but it's a target as well. These get stolen. We pay hundreds of dollars for these phones. Put it away. If you're going somewhere and you feel uneasy, don't wear your expensive jewelry. Tone it down a little bit. I hate to tell you that, but use your common sense. If you're going somewhere and you know it's kind of a sketchy area, start thinking about that. Am I a target? How would I look to a criminal? Do I look like an easy target? And layer that target with protective measures, whether it's reducing your odds by not wearing expensive fancy jewelry to a certain locale or location, not carrying the purse that day, going with a friend. Just make sure that you have the tools available to you. One thing I want to talk about too, the importance of reporting, calling in suspicious persons, or if you see suspicious behavior, or if you're a victim of a crime and you think, oh, it's just such a low-level thing, I'm not going to report it. It's important to report it. On my end, I have access on the computer to 911 and 242 cops calls, and if a citizen calls me and says, gosh, I had a terrible problem at this address, or this crime happened to me, but I'm not going to report it, I need that data, because if I don't see it on the computer, I can't help you. I don't have the day of the week. I don't have the time it happened. I don't have a suspect description. I don't have a method of entry, if it was a burglary or point of entry. So those kinds of things that are gleaned from the 242 cops or 911 calls help me to help you. Teresa is here tonight. She's one of my apartment managers. Boy, you've been in the crime-free multi-housing program, 18 years?
Yeah.
Something like that? Teresa knows the importance of her residents calling in criminal activity on property. Because if she calls me and says, Jill, we're having a problem with car break-ins, and I don't see it, I can't help her. I can't focus officer efforts. I can't get that information pushed up to the leadership to request extra patrols or field briefings or other things that we do to help out the community. So it's important, if you think it's just a low-level crime, still, I would ask that you report it so that there's a record of it. Even if it's informational, where there are no charges, we get tons of those. You can call the telephone reporting unit, and they can do it over the phone. You can do most reports over the computer through the City of Albuquerque website. You can go to a substation, but just make sure the information gets recorded, because the data really helps us. We have a dynamite crime analysis unit, and we have weekly briefings with that unit, and they sift through all the information off of these phone calls and police reports, and we can identify hotspots in our area command and focus resources there. So again, if you've had something happen, report it. It could be part of the bigger picture. Yes.
I was at a park, Mountain Run Shopping Center, the Layton Park.
Oh,
there,
yeah.
Nice park. Well, there was
I love that part.
Yeah, it's dog friendly, but there was a man, looked like he was definitely homeless, with a big bag, and just sitting. Suspicious. To me, it's suspicious, but I didn't know. But do you report something like that to 242 cops, or unless
I
you see?
would,
Yeah.
because there could be somebody right around the corner, or somebody just about to clear off of a call, and they can come over and do that. And it's important for us to know too that, if there's an issue at the park, if it's a homeless person, we can get them matched up with services. We have a great crisis outreach intervention
Okay, so
team.
it's good to-
Yeah, there's all kinds of things we can do to help them. I want to talk a little bit about personal protection devices. Being women, coming here tonight, you're probably wondering, is she going to tell me to carry a gun, mace, pepper spray, Kubaton? That's a personal decision. I get asked that a lot. There are different kinds. You can have an electronic panic button on a lanyard. Those are available. Personal alarms, the shriek alarms or the whistles, pepper spray. There's foam that also goes out with the like a mace type of effect. Car alarm on your keychain could be a personal alert. If you feel threatened, you're in a car or in a parking lot and you have your key fob, you can hit that alarm button and you will attract a lot of attention. Firearms, if you get a firearm, I cannot stress enough, get proper training and practice. You want that training that's in your mind to kick right into play when you need to use that firearm. Don't get a firearm, keep it on the top shelf of the closet and never use it. Be trained properly, and there are a lot of places where you can do that. The local range, gun shops, the NRA has excellent training for women on firearms. Whatever is at hand, just remember, if you're in a situation and you're threatened and you need to get out or you're being attacked, there are all kinds of things that you could use as weapons. Car keys, jabbing. You could have your car alarm on the key fob, a handful of dirt. If you're coming out of Starbucks and someone's trying to rob you, you could throw hot coffee in their face. Cane, if you have a cane. There are all kinds of things that you can use. Just start thinking, expanding your mind, opening your mind up. And again, going back to what I said earlier, it's the what if thinking. What if something happened, what would I do? If you can kind of get into that mode, you're going to start thinking about your personal safety and controlling that environment around you. As far as personal defense, one thing to think about, liability, and is it legal for the state where I live? You're going to have to check that out first. Training is a must, practice is required. Where are you going to store that personal protection device? Because you've got to think about pets or children getting into it. And it's a personal choice. But I think situational awareness and just locking up and protecting your property will take you far. Realtors and apartment managers, we've got my Teresa, one of my best managers in the Foothills Area Command. She is so on top of things at her complex. How many residents do you have?
I have 178 units.
Yeah, that's a
And
lot
I
of
also
people.
work with Flora, because I got the Glorietta
Oh, that's
with
right, yeah.
20 units, and she gives me my reports from there.
Yeah, so, you've got like a city within a city, basically. So what I want to talk about, if we have realtors or apartment managers in here, communication is key with your staff. If you're going to go show a house, or in Teresa's case, if you're going to show somebody an empty unit, make sure that the other people in the office know when you're going to be back, who you're with. If you can take a copy of their ID, their photo ID,
No,
make sure
we
that's
keep
them.
the copy till they get back.
Yes, keep that photocopy until your employee gets back to the office, and know which unit number they're going to and what a reasonable time frame is for them to be back.
And we keep the actual license in the office.
Very good.
And that way they have to
They
come
have
back to
to
get
come
it.
back to the office to get that.
Mhm.
Very good. At work, if you're working alone, work out a schedule so actually nobody does have to work alone. If that's at all possible when you're at work, see if you can have a schedule where nobody has to work alone. Establish a buddy system for your team. Limit the late hours and weekends for people working. It's safer that way. Try to limit people from having to close up alone if you're in an office or a commercial setting. Notify security if there's security on your work campus or wherever you're working. Notify them that you are there, where you are, and what time you'll be leaving. You can always ask for an escort if you have security on premises. Ask for an escort to your car. Notify them from a safe area if you see anybody lurking outside or looking into cars, that type of thing. If you see anyone in the restroom or elevators and you know the business is closed down, you get to a safe place and you contact that security patrol, or you can call APD to let them know. I'll talk a little bit about auto theft prevention. Next month for the holiday crime prevention, we'll get into that a little bit more because we have a lot of vehicles stolen over the holiday season. But this brochure will give you the details, and again, your vehicle ID cards, fill those out for your vehicles. I've got more on the table out in the lobby if you have more than one car, most of us do at the household. VIN etching is an auto theft prevention method. If you don't have your vehicle ID number etched on your glass pieces, APD does do these throughout the year. It's free. It only takes a few minutes. We just ask that you bring your registration with you so that the auto theft detective can clearly read the VIN number, and they etch that onto the glass pieces. Why would you want that? It's a prevention method because a lot of our vehicles are stolen and dismantled. The parts are worth more than the actual vehicle together. If you notice, I'm not sure that I don't put the vehicle years or makes on the daily blog, but I see a lot of older vehicles that are stolen. And in fact, one of my friends that works at the library, his 92 Honda, I believe it was stolen. He called me up so upset. He said, "Who would want my old wreck of a car?" Well, I'll tell you, Hector, the parts are worth more than the vehicle. Also, we're a border state. A lot of vehicles are stolen and taken and sold over the border. We have I-40 and I-25 right through the middle of the city. Easy in, easy out. Somebody may want to take a joyride with your vehicle. Somebody may need your vehicle to commit another crime. So all things to think about. You just want to protect your vehicle. There are all kinds of anti-theft devices on the market. Another thing I need to let you know about, one thing I've been noticing is we talked about the women loading or unloading groceries into the vehicle in parking lots or at home. I contacted my two counterparts, Sharon in the Northeast, Laura in the Southeast, and they both reported similar incidents. So you need to be aware, again, the situational awareness, check, carrying the purse in the car. And when we do this happens at daycare centers a lot too, ladies. Dropping off the kids or grandkids at the daycare center. We leave the purse on the front seat. run and rush the kids in, and we think we're going to be on our way, come out and the vehicle's stolen. So just be very aware of that.
Does a club help? Does that?
Yes,
Is that
I
big
think a
prevention?
club
That's
will
cheap, it's
help.
inexpensive.
It's inexpensive, it's low tech, for
Mhm.
sure. There are ignition kill switches, car alarms, there are all kinds of things at different price points. But just pick something that works for you. But your best prevention method, lock up and remove visible items or items that are of value from inside the car. I wrote down here typical items stolen from vehicles. We went over this briefly a little earlier. Wallets, purses, cell phones, cash, checkbooks, iPods, iPads, laptops, guns, knives, registration, insurance, vehicle titles. Some people drive around with the title in the vehicle. Social security cards, birth certificates, driver's licenses, tools, backpacks, clothing, school books, medications, garage door openers, mailbox and house keys, community gate entry remotes. So now you've just exposed the whole gated community to a criminal. Empty bags, laundry bags, gym bags with sweaty, dirty clothing, diaper bags, chargers, and on and on. So just review what you're leaving in your car unattended. So I wanted to wrap up and give you guys some time for questions and answers, but I will leave you with, APD can't do this by ourselves. We can't do this alone. We need you to be aware of crime prevention. We need you to report suspicious or criminal activity safely, not putting yourself in danger. As women, we need to be able to say no. We need to be able to walk away from a situation if it doesn't feel right and not feel bad that we're hurting somebody's feelings. We need to watch carrying the purses. Working alone, it happens. We have to do maybe a shift by ourselves or close up. So I hope these tips are going to help you. Go ahead and ask questions, and be sure and fill out the feedback page. Leave the feedback page and the pen at your place, and Leanne and I will clean those up. So we'll go ahead and open it up for questions, and if anybody has a tip that they learned tonight, just shoot your hand up and say what the tip is that you're going to put into practice.
Yes. Okay, so when you say foothills, it's that whole thing.
This whole thing.
Okay, so when they say the heights, what's the difference?
People refer to the heights a lot if it's got northeast at the end of the quadrant, or they're thinking, sometimes I've heard it described from Nob Hill all the way up, or all the way north, like to the houses by Paseo. It covers a big swath.
Okay.
But for APD purposes, Foothills Area Command is this area.
Okay.
And then you can see Northeast Area Command, Southeast, Valley, Southwest, Northwest.
Okay, and then I have another little question.
Yes.
We live on Camino de la Sierra,
Oh,
pretty across the street from the entrance to Open Space 365. So it's like towards the end near 40.
okay.
And so we have problems with homeless and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I call a lot and stuff, and I was once told that it's possible that the open space police will be less and less and less all the time.
Oh,
That there are specific people that handle the open space area
yes.
for the Albuquerque Police Department, and because of budget cuts, unfortunately, that might be some of them. Do you know anything about that?
Open Space used to be a separate unit, and then the Open Space Police came into the Albuquerque Police Department. So they do patrol, and they're terrific. I did have a workshop last year, but it had to be canceled with Open Space. And if you guys, can you just give me a quick show of hands if you would like me to try to put one together next year for open space issues? Oh, wow, great. Okay, please write that down on the feedback page because I'm human, I forget stuff. But I was going to ask them if they'd bring the helicopter out. And they had to cancel the day before because they needed a part for the helicopter. and it didn't get delivered or installed in time, so thank you. Open space, we just need your extra eyes again. I mean, that's a vast area, and they've got all of the west side, the Rio Grande, you know, the river area up here on the east end of town. Yes.
Yeah, up around Tramway and Central area, it seems like there's homeless up in there.
Yes.
That are migrated up here, I guess, from down in the Mosque area or something.
311, the Citizens Contact Center, is now asking that those things be reported there. Try to pinpoint as best you can. I know there's not an address and you don't want to be hanging around, looking, poking around, but try to pinpoint where they are, because we have a terrific, well, actually 2 teams, crisis outreach and support team, and we also have the crisis intervention team. And they can match these people up with services that they need. Sometimes, you know, it's a matter of getting to a shelter. Sometimes people aren't aware of the services that are out there that they can be a part of. So, you know, we do have things in place within the city. The mayor has the Headed Home program to try to place homeless people into apartments.
Are the homeless allowed to be in the medians, like at Central and Tramway? There's been a lot of.
Call and report that, because they're not, it's not safe for them to be out there.
There was one on, I forget which street it was just last week.
Oh, I
It was
see
up-
them all
up
over, yeah.
towards, where the shopping center, where ABQ is. And
Yes.
then that median and that big wide, huge, where it goes, where you go east to west and it comes off. I was sure he was gonna be killed before the day was out.
Yeah, it's dangerous, and you don't want to be out there, you know, holding money out. It's just not good for
So we should
the
call and
driver
report
or the
them
person.
when we find them. there.
311, and I live in the Foothills area command myself, so, you know, I have a stake in the Foothills, just like you guys do, and I've noticed increased activity around the Montego, Manal area as well. So, you know, we have a lot of people that need a lot of help, but we have a lot of community services available for them too. You have a question?
Yeah, going back to the purse.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna try it, but
Okay.
I take my purse and when I go to the store, I put it in the cart and I tie it. And make sure I do that, but I'm gonna try it next time. And then, like, I always think that if I'm at an ATM, drive-up ATM, I always make sure I lock my passenger door because I don't.
Yes.
And also filling up with gas, because I've heard of them
Yes.
taking purses. While you're filling up, they're going.
I had a case recently where the victim, I can't remember if it was a male or female, but they were filling the tires with air. And actually, I believe the whole vehicle was stolen with that one, because they were on the other side and filling it up. So be very, very aware at your quick stops, things like that, filling up with gas. Quick dropping the kids off at daycare or at school. Running into, I actually had one at a donut shop. They ran into the donut shop on Montego, turned around to leave with the donuts and the car was gone. There was another one at the newspaper box at one of the grocery stores on a Sunday. Drove up to go get the Sunday paper, left the vehicle running. With winter coming, oh my gosh, please do not warm up your vehicle and leave it unattended. That is an invitation. What happens, usually this is in the pre-dawn or very early morning hours, warming it up, you want to run back inside, get that last cup of coffee, and this exhaust is visible. And we actually have teams of criminals that go through residential neighborhoods looking for that exhaust plume. So that's like a big red flag for somebody. Don't risk it, lock up.
I've been hearing that the cluster mailboxes have one master key for all of Albuquerque and all of Rio Rancho, one key.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard that, Susan. What I
I'm-
did hear is that it's citywide, the stolen mail in the cluster mailboxes. If you can get that back panel off, or the front panel, now you have access to the whole block's mail. Apartment complexes too, you guys have the big mailboxes for the whole property. Lighting is really important over mailboxes. Reporting any